Admit all. Hello, all. Welcome, welcome, all. Oh, look at everybody. Yay. All right. All right. Welcome, everybody. Just keep on letting people in here. I know there might have been a little last minute thing, so hopefully everyone here obviously got on, so that's good. Um, welcome everybody to the VO Dojo. Ask the Sensei. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo, usually in Burbank, California. Today I'm in Arizona. Um, but this is our monthly free Q&A, where we invite. We're here to basically answer your questions, and we invite one of our favorite VO colleagues who may have a specialty or an insight into something or other that might be pertinent to everyone's careers. So we're absolutely excited to welcome back Natasha Marchewka from V123 Pros,
Hi,
which
everybody.
um, which is I always how to like you are like having a translator box to the
Right.
right? Like, I don't know what this is, but when you click into the thing that you and Catherine Toll is one of the other creators of V123 Pros, and she's under the weather today, but Natasha is representing. But what you guys have created, um, at the dojo, we we talk about from mystery to mastery, and you demystify so you can activate the pay to play. So Natasha is here, and Voice123 is a realm, but she's also an accomplished voiceover artist in her own right. So we're here to answer all the questions that we can. Dan Leonard usually joins us. He's not with us today, so we'll do our best to answer any tech questions you have. But really, any questions that you have about anything that you're wondering about, anything that's stopping you, anything that you are thinking about will move you forward, think about what that is. Um, we'll have Natasha introduce herself, and I'll introduce the team here. So we've got Jeffrey Gilbank, who is our Director of Operations and makes everything go at the dojo, and also Kelsey V, who is joining the team, and will be is here shadowing. So if you need anything in the background, Jeffrey's here, Kelsey's here too. Um, so how we do this is we'll have Natasha introduce herself a little bit, and then we will open up to your questions. And if we put them in the chat, then we'll call on you, and we'll have you voice them in the room because voiceover. Um, so we'll have you speak them into the room, and we'll do as many as we can until 11 o'clock. There it is. Um, yeah. So hopefully everyone got the link to the 21 questions interview that I did last week with Natasha and Catherine. That is a great way to get it's like if you press click more, like more info. If you want to know a little bit extended dance mix about Natasha and Catherine, be sure to take that in. But Natasha, tell us a little bit about you and who you are and what you're up to. What goodness are you up to?
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. So I am in Newhall, California. So I call it the valley north of the valley, but I am Canadian. So I've been here for 8 years and I landed my green card 2 years ago. Yeah, yay, super happy. Started my business in 2006 when I had my first baby. And so started at home. I've been at home the whole time and have built my business on my own for the 17 years, not relying on an agent. And I feel like I need to say that because we do it in all different ways and it can be done. Worked in a closet for 10 years when I lived in Canada and the Caribbean. And then in 2016, I bought this Studio Bricks booth, which I am so happy with. Um, I voiced a lot of retail, local TV affiliate commercials, moving up the ranks, and radio commercials. And so I spent a lot of time doing that because when I did the math, I could see that audiobooks or long form narration was not going to be my jam with infants at home, that I couldn't find the consistency of that and the continuity of, consistency vocally. And also financially, I did the math. I always encourage people to do the math and see what makes sense for the jobs that you're taking for, we have rate cards and we look at different rate cards, but know what your rate card is. Know what what's your turn on the mic fee, or for a local spot, the dojo's in LA, but we're all over the world, and there are different regions and localizations that don't have the same budget as LA. So be open to that and have your own rate card and see what's worthy. And there are a lot of things that are not worthy of your time. So I spent a lot of time making sure I didn't say yes. What am I saying yes to? And I think I learned the hard way a few times, as we need to, on what I said yes to, and then needed to move on from those opportunities. So in the meantime, I'm doing commercial and corporate narration, and then anything else I can sort of, that gets sent to me. I don't do animation or gaming, but living in the LA area, that might be something eventually that I might be interested in. My focus was being online because I wasn't in a major market. So I started my business in Ottawa, Canada, which is definitely not a major market. So I knew that I needed to be part of the online community, both having a website and online casting. So a lot of people call it pay to play. I call it online casting. And there's a lot of opportunity there. And it takes a lot of weeding out. And that's what an agent would be for. If you worked with an agent, they are the liaison, and you need to learn how to navigate people who haven't hired talent before, or people who have hired talent that are trying to get you for less money. You really need to navigate each situation with business savvy.
Mhm.
So, having done that for 17 years, I also like being a resource for people. So, you're welcome to go on my website, natashamarchewka.com, but I have created V123 Pros with a colleague, Catherine Toll, and that was super organic. I was teaching my workout group. It's not my workout group. I was part of a VO workout group, voheaven.com. And I thought, I want to help people with Voice 123 because everyone's complaining about it and I do really well on it. So, and they've changed how they do it over the years a few times, as tech companies do, right? In the beginning, it would be Yahoo. I'd get up in the morning and they'd change the interface and they'd change things around. And that's true of Voice 123 and any tech company. So I do well with it. And Catherine took this free talk I did for my workout group, and because I did not want to help people with Voice 123 necessarily on a one-to-one basis and doing their profiles. That is, as you know, when you fill out profiles, if you're doing your website or any other profile, it's labor intensive. And so when I first shared this with my peers, they asked, well, how much would you charge to do our profile? And I was like, that's a lot of work. I don't know if I want to do that. So then,
$1 million.
yeah, right. So Catherine came to me the next day. I didn't know her very well, and she just said, "I'd be interested in helping you help other people." And we were helping so many people for hours at a time, sharing the same things, that we ended up doing a course because we were just repeating ourselves many times. Like tech companies do, they change their things all the time, and Voice 123 is no exception. They're always changing something and not telling us. So we do our homework as to what's the latest, what works here and what is not working. And we really like to speak to people before they buy a membership, because it is one platform where if you over audition, you audition too many times, or you audition for things that aren't your exact specs, you can do poorly on the site and your money is wasted. There are other sites you can use where that is not the case. But a Voice123, if you're not getting the thumbs up on your auditions, you can go down in percentile, and then that affects how what kind of auditions you're sent. So we help people, and it somehow organically became this popular thing. And I'm grateful that we can give that to people, and we keep it at a low price, et cetera, et cetera. And we have free resources. And I also have a webcast called Speechless VO. Speechless VO. It's on YouTube and speechlessvo.com. And you asked what I'm up to lately. This past weekend, I was an auditor at Joe Cipriano's promo workshop weekend
Oh,
masterclass, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
There were 12 participants, so they got to read, and it was a full day thing. And as an auditor, I think I got almost the same wonderful experience, except for reading, because I got to hear everything. And so that was moving to LA area has been very beneficial in terms of meeting people, even just through workshops. It's lovely. And as you may or may not know, the VO community can be a close one.
Mm.
And we built lifelong friendships. And so that was a wonderful weekend of seeing my manager who flew down for it, and seeing some new coaches. And so on Speechless and on V123 Pros, always trying to share free resources and good ideas and stuff like that. So I think that's me.
That's a, that's a lot of goodness. That's a lot of goodness in the world. I love getting to spend time with you, Natasha, because um, I think there are so many ways that we can be making money and having revenue streams, and there's no rules, there's no way that you have to do it, and you
Yeah.
really embody that and empower people in that. So that's great. Yeah. Super cool. And I always love reiterating, no matter where you are in the game, everybody, you keep on learning, keep on connecting, keep on making relationships, yes.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
well, shall we take some questions?
Hmm.
Questions?
I
Cool.
think we shall. We have our first question already from Marissa Christie. Marissa, would you like to unmute yourself and come into the room and pose your
Sure.
question?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Natasha. Hi,
Hi.
Tish. Hi, Jeffrey. Great to see you all again. Natasha, I've been a longtime fan of V123 Pros. I signed up for the course when I first joined Voice123, and it's been super helpful. And I still feel like I hear you and Catherine in my head sometimes before I do auditions. Um,
Stay on
so
target. Stay on target.
yeah, the one thing I always say is, I think it's, can I nail this? I think that was either you or Catherine, but that's always in my head. But yeah, so my question is, so when a jobs usage says in perpetuity, do you still audition for it? And then part two of that question, if the answer is yes, do you mention why you can't do in perpetuity in your proposal right then and there? Or do you audition for it, act like it's business as usual? Once you book the job, then mention why you can't do it, or why you, work with
Fantastic
them on their budget.
questions. Yeah. Perpetuity has become a bad word, but I want to remind everyone or tell everyone that for non-broadcast, we've been giving in perpetuity forever. So when you do something for a corporation, a company, and it's certainly for an event, because it's a one-time event, but even if it's on their website or it's e-learning, we've always been giving it to them in perpetuity. And now the language is just being used and people are afraid of that word. So please remember not to be afraid of that word, depending on the job. Also, I've done a lot of small retail commercials and never gave a thought to this perpetuity issue. And the truth is, are they going to use that crappy commercial again next year? Probably not, possibly. And if they do, it's okay, because it was a local, regional, small thing. Do you want to go as business as usual? No, you don't. So if they say perpetuity and that is not supposed to be in perpetuity, you don't want to pretend that you didn't see the word. You need to think as briefly, write as briefly as you can about well, first of all, when they post a rate and you say, You have the flexibility and the power to say what the terms are. So they've given you a rate of $1,000 or something, and you say, I'd love to, thank you, very brief in your template letter to them, but also say that rate is great for 3 months, or that rate is great for 6 months in the region that you are in, so that you acknowledge that, yes, I'm submitting. However, this is not for 5 years or for perpetuity. So there's that piece of it. And then the other piece about perpetuity is, as Marissa has mentioned, especially for union talent, but it's good that we all pay attention to this. You want to say, I can't do that work in perpetuity. And don't quote me exactly the words. I'm sure Tish can give you the perfect words, but that is, that would bar me from doing anything in this industry or category for the rest of my life, basically. So if you're doing something for healthcare or financial or beverages or tourism, and they do something in perpetuity, there's a potential for someone that would want you exclusively someday to say, do you have anything out there? And you put stuff out in perpetuity, you don't know if you have stuff out there. Now, one more caveat, and that is, it is the Wild West. Voiceover is the Wild West. So as a non-union talent, which I am, have been for the 17 years, there's not as much concern over that, in that, will Coca-Cola ask me to be their voice? I'm going to say, I don't know.
No, they will, because it's crazy how big companies.
Well, they'll do all kinds of different projects. So I actually just did something for Coca-Cola. That was it was a internal narration. However, there is that concern that if you have anything out there in the world that you've done in a category that you want to be hired for and it's exclusive, they will not hire you if you have stuff out there in the world.
Right. And I think that it's so there's these words, perpetuity and then exclusivity, and exclusivity goes on both ends, that that you may have a conflict. Like, for instance, I've been a voice of Subaru for 13 years, so even when the coolest car ads come in, like, oh, I could nail that. Oh, no, you have your toys. But that's what we do. And then, as Natasha just said, on the other side, so, oh, you're the voice of that. We don't want the voice of that as our voice, right? So it kind of works in both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good, really good question, Marissa. And
yeah, thank you so much for the answer.
Yeah, and yeah, and this is great discussion, because it's all about empowering ourselves and understanding worth and value, and
which agents would do for you. And I have not been in that position necessarily. I do have a manager and I have had agents, but I'm looking for the perfect fit. So I've let go of some, and they would deal with that. But in this world of online casting, we have to do it ourselves, and direct marketing and all the things, building your own business, because you are in charge of your own business, whether you have an agent or not.
Yeah, excellent. Cool. What other questions? And please, guys, write them in the chat. We've got all this time for questions. What's next, Jeffrey?
Peter Davis has a question. Peter, come on down.
Okay, thank you. So you say you've talked about a agent and a manager. So what's the difference?
So lots of people will have different opinions or be able to pipe up, but the difference is how much you pay them and what they do for you. Although it's been said, I have a friend who's an agent, and he says, as a manager, because he's asked me, what's the difference between a manager and an agent? And he said, oh, managers do what a good agent should be doing for you. And it would seem on the landscape right now that everything is different. Everyone asks for different things. Agents and managers ask for different things. So I'm with Celia Siegel Management, and she charges a percentage on jobs that she books with me or that I give to her. So what that means is, one of the things that I love about having my particular manager is they're very good negotiators. And so if I receive a job from online casting or otherwise that I know I should be receiving more money for, but I hate negotiating, and I'm not as capable with the words as she is, as they are. I am Maruyama actually on the team. She loves it. And so she will get me thousands. The job could be 2,000 that I'll bring to her, and she'll get me thousands. And then she will also go for renewals. So just recently, or a year ago, I gave her a bunch of things, like half a dozen things that I said, you know what, you should probably look up these renewals. I think there's some money coming to us. And then she receives some of that money. So it's 15% from CSM. And I'm fine with that. I will give them all the jobs because they're getting me money I wouldn't have gotten to begin with. And the other thing great about Celia is that they find auditions and jobs and clients that are not the common ones that are around. And that's really important because a lot of agents will send you the same auditions. There's other management companies, some charge you 10% of your entire income. And that's not something I'm keen on because I have spent 17 years building my own business and connections and the other things that I get to follow up with my clients. So if I give everything to my agents, I want a follow-up, and so a good agent should be able to do that. So the difference though is, is how much they charge. It's that agents in theory would be getting opportunities, jobs, prospects, ongoing clients that send through the pipe a bunch of castings. What's happening now is that because of online casting, they're getting fewer jobs. And so, okay, I'm going off on a tangent. Let me get back to the question, but I do want to get back to this thing. So the manager, she's handling my branding or handle my branding and help me up level in terms of how I appeared on my website and connected me with her team for the website. And I get to speak to her once a month. Or I can call her anytime I want, but with the program that I'm on with her, because I pay her monthly, and then I also pay her 15%. So managers take a lot more money, but they're worth it because you have a relationship with them. Often with agents, and that's why I've let go of many of my agents, we just don't have a relationship. And so that brings me to what I wanted to say is agents' businesses are less and less. And if they operated like managers, maybe they would thrive some more. So online casting takes a lot of these opportunities, and so they have less opportunities, and so they take on more talent now. Agents take on hundreds of talent, and so they have a better chance of booking, a better booking ratio. The more talent, the more bookable talent they have, the more jobs they will, more money they receive. But the downfall to that is I haven't had personal relationships with agents, or if I have, if they do pick up the phone, they're not the way, I guess it used to be in the olden days when you could talk to them and they were gunning for you and they remembered your voice. Now it's just you're a bit, it's like a catcall, which is one of the things that we talk about with V123. Isn't there so much competition online? And agents have excellent talent, and then they get an audition, and then 5 other agents get the same audition. And so you're competing against hundreds and hundreds of very good talent. Whereas on Voice123, for example, they'll put out an audition to 50 people. They say sometimes over 100 or 50 or 25, 10, 5, whatever. You're competing against 50 people, and I'm willing to bet 80% of them aren't very good. So suddenly my pond has gotten really small. And so the smart people are on online casting who are really good talent and have much higher booking ratio than they do with agents because they have less competition. So even though there's a lot of competition online, there really, really is, and it's good. So there are some of us that are bookers that are good, but there's some of us who are bookers that aren't doing well on Voice123 because they don't know how to play the game. And it's like a video game, like it's gamified, and you need to know how to to not get penalized on Voice 123. So that's a lot, but I'm not anti-agent, I'm pro-agent, and I want some good ones. But they're in a really difficult position because they need to take on more talent and they're getting fewer jobs and their jobs are sort of going by the wayside. So if they operated like managers and went for clients like they used to do in the olden days, if they have relationships with ad agencies and creatives within companies, that would be fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, and on the agent manager, I think everything that Natasha's has observed, it has shifted. I have a manager, ACM management, talent management, that really does work how agencies used to work. Back in the day, having a voiceover management company was often related to being part of the promo world, that people who were really, really working successfully in the promo world had a management, or was it Cope or Jason Marks or something like that. And that was mostly focused on promo work. ACM and Celia are more all-encompassing. As I've been with the ACM, and over the years, at first when I signed on, they didn't do animation. Now Melanie handles animation, so we're getting opportunities there as well as in all the realms. And there is Andrew does promo, and Jake sort of specializes in sports. Eric Seastrand used to run William Morris, so he has massive connections in the old school way of how things used to work, of working relationships. And Phil and Mark and the whole team. So there's 7 people, and Jeffrey in Atlanta. So one of the differences about a management company is that to be a part of a management company, you're probably bringing something to the party, because, as Natasha said, you are working into it's kind of like it's kind of like if you get married and you put everything in a joint account as opposed to having separate accounts. Like, if there's money coming in, your management gets a cut of it. And you can, when you sign with a manager, distinguish when you're making an agreement with, you can say, except for this client. Like, I have friends who've had like long running relationships that continue, that are their clients. And so except for that. So you can negotiate and navigate that. I personally pay 10% to my agent and 10% to my manager. And as Natasha says, totally worth it. Totally worth it. Like take care of it. Get me the opportunities. And then at the management company, there's 7 people on the team that are working with maybe 150, 200 people, as opposed to an agency, depending on how it goes now. There's some agencies that have big teams as well. There's some agencies that are just one person, but they might have hundreds of people on their roster. So you got to kind of feel out what you're looking for. And then I think cultivate relationship. How do you cultivate relationships with agencies? And some just work, this isn't going to be a totally great metaphor, but it's like going to a vending machine, and you don't have a fine dining experience in it, but you don't like cultivate a relationship with a vending machine, right? You put something in, you take something out. And not to say that agents are vending machines, but there are some that work like that. Like, here's an audition, you try it. Someone's going to book it. Okay, got it. And then there's other agencies where you can be in relationship, can be connecting, can be how are things going, what's going on. So it's just like any other relationship, right? We talk about at the dojo, if a lot of people come to a place where they're ready to go out into the world and add that branch of their business, and they just stand on the corner going, I want a boyfriend. I want a boyfriend. Like, well, why? As Natasha would say, why? Who and what are you looking for in a relationship with an agent? So those are things. Yeah, and I think the game of the agency has changed too. You know, previously when most commercial work was union, I would advise, like, don't worry about talking to big agencies until you have union or union eligible, because yeah, and now the whole game has changed. So that's a lot about agents and managers, but hopefully it's inspiring. Yeah.
I want to make one more comment, and that's I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but the managers in the promo world in the olden days was because they would have so many appointments. Promo moves so fast. They go from one station to another, and a manager would have to manage their time.
Yeah.
So that's why they had that. And it's a lot of money. So they're, working with contracts and stuff like that. Whereas commercial probably works a little slower than promo. But now everyone can make their own business whatever they want. So when
Yeah.
you look at the management teams and the agents, like, talk to other people, talk to them, and it's not that easy to talk to them, but you have to do your homework because they all offer something different.
Mhm. Yeah, you find the right fit for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's keep on answering questions.
Sounds good. Thanks, Peter. And next we have Austin, but Austin is at work, so I'm going to pose the question for Austin. Austin asks, can you touch on a few of the biggest mistakes that new members of Voice123 make?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah,
Okay.
people get enthusiastic and they audition for everything, and that's a big mistake. And the reason is because when castings go out, they're not just for your spec. They could be, so for me, I go under female adult, but I used to do young female adult and female adult. And if they're looking, if they put it out for male adult and young male adult and all the different ages and genders, then they don't know what they're looking for, and they probably won't give you a thumbs up. You have the ratio, the chances of you getting through, cutting through, and winning the thumbs up is less likely. So it's not only just the age and gender. And by the way, for anyone that knows Voice123, or you'll understand this, I will only audition for jobs that have only 2 gender and age specs. So I'll do, if it also says female senior, or if it also says young adult, or if it says male adult, and there's only 2 options, not 4, 6 or something. Those are the ones I will audition for. For the more than 2, and it's unlikely that I'll get the job. Where was I going with that? So they over audition not only from the age and gender, but also there are times where it'll be for a female adult and it'll say energetic, like over the top, blah, blah, blah. That is just not who I am. And so I kind of know what I do over the years. And it's actually difficult sometimes to know exactly, your lane, but we learn over the years what we get hired for. And so doing an energetic, let's say a promo video, depending on the product as well, just your excited might not be what at all they're looking for. They're looking for, something more over the top. So being really careful with the specs as talent, just, I think they've been trained maybe on other platforms to just go for everything. And it's a waste of time. But on Voice123, it's a waste of money, because then you'll find yourself in a position where you actually get less auditions if you over audition. So that's the hugest mistake. Also, putting too much money towards your membership. So they have a lot of membership tiers. And if you start out higher and then you don't do well, you're lighting your account and your money on fire. So you want to just ease into it. Ease into it and feel confident, and then you put more money onto memberships. I think that answers it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So, I'm gonna, since we had Marissa already ask a question, I'm gonna instead jump to Pamela. We like to try to get everybody to have one question in before we circle back around. So Pamela's also indisposed at the moment. So Pamela asks, what is the lowest level one should join on Voice123? I guess you kind of already answered that question.
Not quite, because there's so many memberships, Jeffrey. So the lowest level is free, but you don't receive, anything for free except you can post your profile and post your samples. So what we recommend is starting out with free to get yourself set up so that once you pay money, you're already set up and you're off to the races. But $3.95 is the good membership to start with. They've got a few underneath that that really won't help you, and then a few above that. And they are a business and they're trying to monetize every single thing. But $3.95 and then top 50 is where you would start. When you start with Voice123, top 50 is the percentile you're in. So I would definitely start there, and once you feel more encouraged, you can put some more money towards it. That said, more information if you're a niche voice. And what does that mean? If you have an accent or you have you're a really high-pitched voice person, $3.95 is as much as you should spend. You don't need to spend more than that, because if you've plugged in all your keywords into the platform, you will be found. There aren't going to be more auditions for you the more you pay if you're a niche voice. If you're a niche voice and say you have, let's just say you have what we'd call an indiscernible world accent. Well, actually, no, that's a terrible example because they are in demand. Let's say you have a German accent. There aren't going to be more German accented jobs the more you pay. At $3.95 or even the level below that, it's going to be the same amount of jobs for those specs. So as long as you're filled out properly, you will be found if you're a niche voice.
Yeah.
So it's those of us without the niche voice, like the middle of the road, middle-aged white woman. We pay more to participate because there's more of us. And so we have to compete against each other, and there's more jobs for us.
There's so many things, so many interesting things that are resonating about what you're saying. I love this distinction between the little linguistic shift, semantic shift of online casting versus pay to play. I think at the beginning of the journey, a lot of people get super caught up on pay to play. It is super caught up on pay to play, as opposed to you pay a little bit of money to have a resource of leads, of connections, of things. So it's really a business. It's really a business expense rather than pay to audition. It's more of putting it in the context of how are you running your business. This is an excellent way for a little amount of money. And then also $3.95 divided by 12 is not that much. Right? So I think sometimes at the beginning, like people are like, it's so much money. I'm like, well, you're not expecting to make $400 this year. Like, I think you can definitely make $400. And then the other thing that I'm hearing is the image that comes to my mind, as you're talking about Voice123, about V123, it's like a handmade pasta maker. Like, oh, it can make pasta. Sure, you have it, but how do you put the dough together? How do you roll it? And then how do you make it go evenly?
Smoothly.
How do you cut it? And then you have to hang it out to dry to make the pasta. Like, you can have a pasta maker, but there's sort of an understanding of how to use the tool that requires probably a little practice, a little guidance, a little knowing how the machine works and what you're trying to get to. And then how do you make your perfect pasta, right? That might be a little too wacko metaphor, but it seems like as opposed to, this is something that everyone will just stand in and it'll work for you, right? It's not, yeah. So how does the machine work?
The other thing about pay to play is that I pay my manager, full disclosure, $250 a month. So $349 or $499, let's say, for voices.com. This is, as Tish says, it's actually towards your marketing. So even the online presence is so important, and the keywording and whatnot is so important to be found. You need to be found. So that's what. And then the other piece of it, pay to play. I mean, it continues everywhere. So this weekend, when I went to the Hollywood promo masterclass with Joe Cipriano, those participants paid a lot of money, and they're paying to play. They're paying to meet the promo people in Hollywood, and that's a pay to play right there. So it's turned into a bad word in our community, but really it's online casting is just another way to build your business.
Yeah. Good. Excellent. What other questions do we have?
Let's welcome back Marissa Christie into the room. Marissa.
Hi again. I'm excited to ask another question. So I've been on a couple of other online casting sites, and I know that getting a audition in ASAP is, super important. Is it as important on Voice 123? How important is it to get an audition in right away versus, pretty close to the deadline?
So voices.com is very important to get it in fast, as you may be referring to. And even agents, we need to get those auditions in fast, which I'm not always that good about. Voice 123 as both answers. So on the one hand, depending on your percentile and therefore your group number, so they give out the castings in groups, in groups over a certain amount of time. So because I'm a platinum member, I'm usually in group 1 or group 2. And that could be 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, and then the next group is released. So some people will say, well, I live on the East Coast or the West Coast or Mountain Time, whatever. When I get them, there's 49 auditions in there already. And the reason is not because of the time zone. It's because of jobs are released throughout the world clock, because it's a global business, Voice 123 is, but also because other people it's been released to them before you. So that said, Marissa, it depends. And so has it been filled up already way before the time? Yes. And so you need to be quick enough to get in there before it's at its max. However, if you're in one of the top groups, you have time. It really depends. And I've let a lot of auditions go where I was in a workout group for an hour and a half, and I worked on it in the workout group. And by the time I was done my workout, the job had closed already. So you need to be faster, but you can't let it run your life because there are so many auditions. So just instead of receiving the emails and doing the auditions, I actually don't receive the emails. I click that option off, and then I go into Voice 123 2 or 3 times a day, see what's there, audition for the newest ones first, and then the older ones. So I can get into the newer ones before the first 50. So it really depends. It's about not making yourself crazy and doing it in your timing.
And that metaphor makes me think of like flying Southwest. Like, are you in the A or are you in the B? Probably won't necessarily get an aisle seat if you're in the lower part of B, right? If you're in group C, you're probably sitting in the middle.
I finally flew Southwest for the first time this year, and I was consistently in group D or something. I was like, this is a terrible deal.
This deal's getting worse all the time.
Yeah.
What other questions do we have? And also, Jeffrey, do you want to share about get to know VO and things like that?
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll wrap up with a couple more questions, but real quick, wanted to share a couple of resources. Natasha, you're going to be joining us again 2 weeks from now on Wednesday. Hooray! Hopefully along with Catherine.
Oh no, it's just me that day. She's at a conference that day, actually.
Oh, busy bee. Okay, we'll have to catch up another time. But so we're looking forward to having you come back. and talk more about Voice123 and V123. I also have some helpful links that I'm about to drop in the chat, as well as a PDF for everybody as a resource if you're looking to up your game at Voice123. And keep an eye out for those in the chat.
And also, I'm going to share my website because I have tons of resources. I'm not sure, maybe you've included that, Jeffrey, but I'm just going to add it as well. Oh, okay, good. Because I have lots of resources as well. And we have on V123 Pros, as Jeffrey has shown, we do have free resources. Marissa, you may have gotten one or two of those already. Totally worth. Oh, yes. And then, so Jeffrey shared some tips. We do really, Catherine is amazing, and we do really good handouts. And so this is a handout attached. Definitely want to download it because it's just extra goodness, and it's only one page, but it's full of stuff. And then also we do work-in-ours once a month, and there's always a good handout. So you can buy them after the fact, and they're only $15 after the fact, and you get the handout. So I'm always about the free resources, guys. Figure out what's already out there before you pay for all kinds of things.
Yeah. And in terms of the VO Dojo, we are always so excited to have everyone here on the first Wednesday of the month for these. And the third Wednesday of the month for Get to Know VO, where Natasha will be back and we'll dive in a little bit more. And then anyone who's interested in working with us, we work with everyone from I don't know to working pro, at all, meet you where you are and get you where you want to be. So if you're interested in talking more about anything happening at the dojo, Jeffrey, can you share the voiceover once-over link and talk with someone on the team about how we might be able to help? And we also have the VO Dojo Pro Fight Club, which is a great resource, working pro resource. So, yeah.
Alrighty, amazing. So we can jump back in, and I got a couple more questions. Katie Caruso, hello, welcome back. Good to see you. What's your question?
Hi, thanks so much
Hi,
for hosting
Katie.
this. Hi. My question was, does it affect your standings or ratios and all of that differently if you decline invitations versus just letting the deadline pass by?
Absolutely not. In both cases, in fact, there are 3 cases. So if you let the deadline go by, it doesn't affect you. If you X out of it on the summary page, there's no you don't get penalized. And sorry, my daughter's calling and she's at college, and so okay. And then the other thing is, if you're receiving auditions, guys, that are completely not you, or you don't want that kind of audition. So let's say AI, you just don't want to see those anymore. You go into the job specifically and you click decline and poor matching. And then it'll give you a bunch of words that you do not want in any audition. So you want to be very judicious with that. You don't want to use that too much, but you can type in AI at the bottom if it doesn't show up, and then you won't receive any more AI auditions. Or you can do TTS, text to speech, and you won't receive any more of those. When you decline them from inside, you do not get penalized. Once again, it doesn't matter at all. So that's great news. But also, that feature, you can sift out some of the auditions, but use it judiciously, because if you say you don't want to do audiobooks and you put audiobooks, but then maybe there's a commercial with the word book in it, you want to be careful that you don't use that too much. Just AI, basically, I think.
Think like an AI before you start putting all the words in there. What would an AI do? Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Anything else? Anyone else?
I have another one from Margaret Lange that I was asked to pose. Natasha, can you explain more about the search appearance limits? V123 website lists 0, 7, 16, 36 based on tiers. Is
Okay,
this on a
what?
monthly basis or?
Okay, what? Jeffrey, what do you? Oh,
Um,
okay, I see it. I see it there. Okay. Can you
What?
explain about the search appearance limits? Recent website limit. Yeah, I don't understand. V123 website lists 0, 7, 16, 30 based on tiers. Is this a monthly? I don't understand that. Please, can you explain more about the search appearance limits? Is that something referenced in the PDF? Margaret, can you continue to type more about the question? Because I don't understand that. Maybe the groups, maybe she meant the groups based on tiers. Yeah, okay, now I understand.
Hmm.
So the auditions are sent to you in groups. You're in a group number depending on how much you pay for a membership and what your percentile is. So I am in the top paying limit, platinum. But I'm in the top 20 percentile. I'm not in the 10 percentile. So I am occasionally in group 2 if they only give things out to the top 10 percentile. If you are paying $3.95 and you're in the top 10 percentile, you still might be in group 2 or 3, sometimes even 1. However, the lower your percentile, the lower your group, and the less you pay, the lower your group. So if you're a free member, you will be in group like 72. And so you will not see castings until they are full and they're just like sitting there dead on the platform. Or not dead, but they've been there a long time on the platform. Whereas if you're in the top 50 percentile, and I'm just throwing some things out here, but you're in the top 50 percentile because you just started and you're paying $3.95, you might be in group 16 or 8 or something like that. So that is for the auditions. In terms of the search appearances, so there's two, I'm not sure, Margaret, there's two questions this could be about, but search appearances are about how many times you're seen when someone types in something. So if it's a word like conversational, they type in conversational, you're probably going to be on page 2000 because everyone has the word conversational on their site. But if it's a word that less people use, let's say it's the name of someone on TV, let's say Bozo the Clown. You can do Bozo the Clown. Not too many people will have that on their profile. That search word, you'll be first. However, if you're asking about memberships and how many times you appear, you can see on their membership page, everybody, on Voice123 memberships, it gives you how many times you will appear, how many auditions you'll receive, depending on how much you pay. So again, so as a platinum talent, I'm seen many more times than everyone else because I pay more and I'm on the first few pages. But I will get the same amount of auditions pretty much as the tier below me because of how much I pay. This is why we made a course. It's so complicated. There are so many details, and they are, they're not a voiceover company. They're a tech company.
Interesting.
So that's how we've had to navigate it as well. They don't understand about our usage. And we keep telling them, please put usage in your specs because we're not getting enough information here. So
What is there a general formula for a percentile? Like how does that get calculated? Like what puts
okay.
it in a top
So
percent?
percentile is all about thumbs up and how many thumbs up you've received from auditions. So if the client uses the thumbs up feature and your audition has been opened and listened to, you will be in that mix, that algorithm mix. You need to get 1 in 3 or 1 in 5 to get up to the top 10 percentile when you start at top 50. And this is a math thing. So, voiceover people aren't great at math, but it's the best I can do. Once you get below top 50, you get to bottom 50, bottom 40, 30, 20, and 10 percentile. You need a thumb up for almost every audition you do to climb back up the ladder. That's why it's so important that you do it the right way, because once you get to the bottom 10, you're receiving less good auditions, like way less good auditions. And then you have to get a thumb up on every audition. It's really hard. So, Tish, the thumb up thing is that they don't have a thumbs down,
Mhm.
but the team can also put thumbs up and they'll vote on which talent. So maybe their team has 4 more people. They've got 5 thumbs up on your audition. It only counts as 1. But once they take the thumbs up down because they're voting for who they want, you can have thumbs taken away. The only good news in this is that if they don't use the thumbs up feature, or if your audition doesn't get opened, you don't get put into that algorithm, and so it doesn't bring you down to be not given the thumbs up.
Thank God you're here, because or you could play the stock market because that's easy. Yeah.
Right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I think this is really, really important, and why the thing that I said at the top of the Q&A, you kind of need a translator. You
Mhm.
kind of need to have something that lets you know all the rules that are on the top of the box
Mhm.
before you play the game, so you can understand what is the definition of winning, right? How
Mhm.
is winning defined, and
Mhm.
then how to approach it so you don't go bananas, right?
Mhm.
You don't you don't start thinking that you're a loser because you didn't play it right, right?
Exactly.
You're
Exactly. Yeah,
not.
it can be very hard on your ego, let me tell you. Yeah.
Good, good, good. Well, we're right at the top of the hour. Do we have a little bit more time, Jeffrey? Should we close out and then do an extended dance mix? How are you for time, Natasha? Do you have time for a couple of more questions? And
I
if you
do
don't,
have time. I do have time. I just have one thing I need to share with everyone. At 20 after the hour, if you don't know this already, FEMA is doing a loud alarm on the phones. So if you have a meeting, Tish, in 20 minutes, you're going to want to not have a meeting, because it's all our
oh,
phones are going to start buzzing at 11:20 Pacific time.
I have auditions to do. That would be awkward.
Yeah, if you're in a session, it's going to be really awkward. So
Good thinking. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, in that case, we can keep diving through questions. If anybody does need to go at the top of the hour, thank you so much for joining us. We always love having people attend. Tell your friends, keep your eye out on our website and on our newsletter for upcoming ones. We'll include the links along with the email that follows this call. And thanks for joining us. With that, on to the next questions. We have one from Thomas G. Flowers.
Thomas G.
Thomas.
Hey, how are you doing today?
hi.
Yes, great situation with Voice 123. I'm on the platform myself. The question I had, which I'm posting there, is that you're passing up a number of things you don't feel like is quote unquote in your wheelhouse. How much are you breaking down scripts and trying to audition for things you might, be able to do, or do you just not even worry about trying to break it down, trying to give a new read and just pass it up altogether and not hurt, what's going on with the algorithms?
So, as Marissa said in the beginning of the hour, you want to audition for things you can nail. That's on Voice 123. If you know you can nail it, it's your job, then that's what you go for. For the rest, you don't want to take creative risks on Voice 123 in terms of the auditions. You can, if the spec is you, but then you give a second take and creative risk all you want, to be creative. But in terms of choosing auditions, I let a lot go in order because it's a game of first it's a game of getting the thumbs up, and it's
Exactly.
also a game of collecting clients. So the job thing is like icing on the cake, because we're trying to collect clients here and build a business. So just landing, yeah, it's too risky, Thomas, to just do things that maybe they'll hire you, because the thumbs up is the number one
Is really the
important.
thing. No,
Yeah.
that helps out a great bit and helps me get
Mm,
through the morning sometimes when all of a sudden you get a number of different auditions. And then I guess it's going to be a matter of also going through to the keywords, because there's a lot of things I'm Xing out because I'm
yes.
not Morgan
Yes.
Freeman. I'm not,
Well, you
X,
sound
Y,
pretty
Z.
close to him, but okay.
But yes, yeah,
Exactly.
there are certain things that I look for that'll jump out, and I'll say, okay, that is what I do, and this is where my voice is.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the natural conversational type thing and sounding like a millennial, what have you, just doesn't quite work out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the idea is that you need to be on a lot more platforms because you might, there's only so many and
Exactly.
jobs, castings. And so you have to widen your search. Yeah.
That's interesting to recognize that as actors, we need to diversify our portfolio if you're on camera, or like to make choices of how you're diversifying your portfolio within voiceover. What genres are you going to be doing? Within voiceover, are you going to be working with an agent? And then it's interesting to hear then when you're choosing and building your online casting career, you also, what I just heard you say is diversify, right?
Mhm.
Get one going, understand the rules, and then get another game, and it's another game going.
Yes.
So you're playing solitaire and Angry Birds and something else, right?
Yes.
But it's all on your phone. Yeah, that's interesting. Really interesting. And Thomas G. Flowers, you like Natasha wasn't kidding. Like you don't sound exactly like Morgan Freeman. But if you had to
Yep.
put you on a spectrum,
Yes. You're very close.
wise, warm,
Yeah.
the thought, the pacing and just the essence of what a Morgan Freeman type read or take is, I would put you in that pile, a variation.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get a number of things like that. A lot of some things narration, some things trailer. So yeah.
Mhm.
So most certainly.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Thomas. Just a couple more to wrap up. Lena Del Roble. Lena, hello. Come on down. What's your question? If you're still with us, let me check.
Hi, everybody. Hi. I was just curious to know how many jobs, what's the percentage that requires Source Connect on Voice 123? And hi, Natasha. I used to be on Voice 123 a long time ago.
Hi, Lena. Yeah, so Voice 123 has changed a lot, but every tech company has changed a lot. So, and I don't keep track about Source Connect because I have it, so I don't need to pay attention to it. But I will say that since COVID, it's been astronomically higher. That said, in the beginning, before I got it, my couple of my mentors, Mark Cashman and Larry Hudson, will say, well, how many times have you gotten one? Well, never. Well, you don't need to buy it yet. And I thought ahead. So I purchased it 1 year before I even used it. And then now I use it several times a week. So Lena, though, if I could guess, that's such a good question, because then I also get directed sessions and I do a lot by Zoom, like mostly by Zoom. So I probably only use Source Connect once every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And then I do Zoom directed sessions several times a week. So I wouldn't sweat about it. Just keep your eye on them. And unlike what some people say, oh, you can hook it up in the same day. No, you cannot. For some of us who are not techie, it takes a few days. But you'll get a sense of how many am I receiving that require that. I know it might seem to all of you like you're getting those requests auditions every day, must have Source Connect. But most of my sessions are Zoom. And, that's the non-broadcast world. And that's the marketing and even the creative directors that aren't using engineers and stuff. So there's a lot of work that does not use Source Connect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then again, having Source Connect as having in your mindset that if you're running a restaurant, you need silverware. So you'll have silverware and you'll pay money for silverware, right? It's just if you get into a mindset, and I know in the beginning when money's going out and may not yet be coming in, it's kind of like, $35 a month. However, that you have it, it's set up, you're ready to roll when the opportunity comes. it's, obviously everyone's balancing how the money going out and the money coming in is working for them. But there's just even an undercurrent of in your question of how many, if I don't have Source Connect, how many opportunities do I have, right? So do you see where I'm getting to? Like, you have to find your path. And I agree with Natasha. Sometimes it's like, oh, when did I use Source Connect? But it is like having the sticker on your business, right? We have this if you need it, right? So just getting in the mindset of what are the costs of running your business, and having the things that your business needs is another way to look at it. And then you wouldn't be worried, because you'd be like, I can do Source Connect, I can do a GPO, I can do a Zoom call, I can do, I'm available for whatever as Ehonian. So yeah.
One more comment about, though, to have that mindset, I'm available for whatever, is a great mindset, because, Lena, you have Zoom and you also have studio near you that has Source Connect. I can guarantee it. No matter where you live, there's got to be one engineered studio or voice talent. Wherever we live, there's voice talent who have Source Connect. So you can still roll like a pro and say, for Source Connect, I use such and such studio. So that if you started getting a lot, yes, you get it. But for now, you're covered by other talent and by studios, depending on where you live.
Thank you.
Amazing. And I think to close this out, we have one more question. Kelsey V, our very own Kelsey, had a question.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
My question was on Voices 123. Can your client see what jobs you've accepted and like how much you get paid for them?
Not at all.
Mm.
So the client only sees, they do see your percentile if you're in the top 30, 20, or 10. If you're below that percentile, they don't see that. They don't see what you've done. They can see reviews. In fact, all you have to do is go to Voice 123 and look at anyone's profile, and you'll see what the client can see. That's all. And then I've seen their behind the scenes. It doesn't tell you any more information about the talent. No, it's just all the auditions are there. You can put the thumbs up, you can leave a review and stuff, but there's no other secret like information they see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, great stuff, guys. And I think that we often finish up with a Dojo O. If anyone wants to put their Dojo O, like what did you take away from today, or what made you go oh? There's something that you said, Natasha, remembering that we play the game to get clients, and ideally recurring clients. This game, the point of the game is getting recurring clients that come back to you, and then you don't have to audition, right? So that's a good mindset, because I think it's so easy to go like, wait, did I do this? Did I wear red on Thursday? Did I? Oh, was I? Oh, like there's so many machinations to the game. The goal is, how do you get it flowing so that you build a relationship? And that's one of the benefits of Voice 123, is that you can collect them. When you catch the fish on an audition, you can put them in your tank and add to your aquarium, right? As opposed to somebody else saying, no, I'll chop that up for you, pay no attention to that. So yeah. Oh, the metaphors today, Tish. What the heck? All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thanks for the extra time, Natasha, and super excited. Put on your calendar October 18th, 10 a.m. PT, and we're going to be doing Get to Know VO, and be able to dive a little bit more into the
yes,
how to play the game. So
see you then.
Yeah, and thanks, Jeffrey. Thanks, Kelsey. Great to see everybody, and be ready for the loud noise. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.